specific. He must know that there's some drugs. If he'd said the 62 grams, anything, but just simply saying everything in that bedroom's mine without anything further, I think evidences he didn't really know what was in the room. I think it evidences, as Detective Sanchez has just said, that the young lady with the children was going to jail. And, Knucklehead here decided, well, I don't want to see a young lady go to jail. So he says drugs are his when he doesn't even know what the drugs are. He's confessing to crimes that he doesn't even know he's confessing to. Additionally, with the 642 grams in the kitchen, there is absolutely nothing to tie him to that cocaine trafficking charge. And I'd suspect that was probably the same evidence at Ms. Pugh's hearing and why that charge was reduced. Obviously, the little bit of cocaine with her ID in the bathroom was hers. But the trafficking amount in the kitchen, it's not his house. There's nothing to tie him to the house. He's on probation with another address associated to him. He makes no statements about the cocaine in the kitchen. There's no proof that he even knew that existed. The only person with any association to the cocaine, ironically, is Ms. Pugh, because her IDs are located next to cocaine in the bathroom. The evidence in this case, I understand him having made a general, vague, blanket statement that, hey, everything in the room is mine. I understand that statement, but there's nothing about that statement that evidences that he genuinely knew what he was confessing to or the statement that he was admitting to. So I would ask all charges be dismissed. If Your Honor is persuaded by that statement, I would ask that the trafficking and cocaine charge be dismissed, as there's absolutely no evidence that he knew that the cocaine in the kitchen even existed, let alone that he possessed it. And I would ask that the firearm charges also be dismissed, as again, there's no proof that he knew the guns were even there or existed, let alone that he ever possessed them. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, 88 Thomas, did you want to do a closing or not?
I do want to respond to certain points of Mr. Florio's argument regarding his client. Your Honor, Mr. Florio is contending that the defendant's statement, all the drugs are mine, is too vague. But actually, they're not, Your Honor. They're rather specific. There were multiple things found in that room that this gentleman ended up being charged with. But the only thing that he acknowledged and specifically claimed were the drugs. He mentioned nothing about the guns, even though they're in his room, acknowledged room that he shares with a co-defendant. But he did specifically acknowledge the drugs. Any drugs are his. Specifically, any drugs. Granted, he did not acknowledge the weapons, even though if they're in his closet, it is presumed that he knows about them, and I'm going to ask the court transfer those charges as such. Now, Your Honor, regarding the cocaine, it was found in a common area. Any of the adults in the house and possibly the teenager could have had something to do with it. But by the same token, with the amount of drugs that was found in the bedroom itself that he claimed, it is reasonable for the officers to assume that cocaine, that he had some part of ownership of that cocaine, which is why he and I believe the co-defendants were also charged with the cocaine. I think based on the testimony that the officer has presented today, the state would be asking for the court to transfer the case in its entirety to the Superior Court.
All right. So based upon the evidence presented, I am going to bind all the charges over to the Superior Court of Clayton County. That's the order of the court.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Your Honor, that concludes our business before the court. May I please be excused?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Ms. Thomas.
Thank you, Mr. Florio. And Your Honor, I know it looks like today's going to go on forever, but I actually have an announcement regarding 3 of the 4 charges. The 4 cases.
Good news. Give me some good news.
Well, I don't know if it's going to be good or bad, but 2 of the cases state is actually 3 of the cases state is asking for a reset. One of the officers, as the court is aware, he did. Oh, I'm sorry, Detective, you're free to go. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
But do we have Attorney Rogers, Attorney Lewis? Okay, all right. Just want to make sure you guys
Lewis is wrapping a gift, so I know he's here. And Your Honor, are we still on YouTube?
I'm sorry.
Are we still on YouTube?